share the information during our PLCs that I found that I feel like would be very beneficial for our classrooms. As a PLC at the beginning of the year, we all sat down and we made goals for ourselves. And one of the goals that we made for our students and for ourselves was we wanted to make sure that we pushed every student every day as far as we possibly could push them. That we taught them as much as they possibly could learn, and that we pushed them as hard as we possibly could push them to ensure that they were getting where they needed to be academically. So I have found a program that I feel like is going to be very beneficial in assisting us in meeting our goals. If you'll look in the table in front of you, you'll find a folder, and inside of that folder, you'll find a copy of the PowerPoint that we're going to use during the presentation. This is yours, so you can take notes on it throughout the presentation. You'll also find a packet, and this packet's going to be beneficial throughout the presentation, and I'll refer back to it and tell you some pages that you actually can go back to see some of the graphs and things that we're going to talk about up here on the screen. That'll be better and easier for you to view from where you're sitting. So we'll be referring back to this. Also inside of this packet, you'll find the agenda so that you can follow along with us and see where we're going next and what we're going to be discussing next. So we'll go ahead and get started. If you'll turn to page 3 of your packet, you'll find my classroom vision statement. And we all have vision statements, and so I just wanted to share mine with you. As a kindergarten teacher, it is my vision to create a safe, nurturing, stimulating, and challenging environment for all of my students. I will design lessons that provide both wonderful and well-planned educational experiences for all of my students to be successful and productive in life. I will strive to provide opportunities which will allow my students to grow their social, cognitive, intellectual, and creative abilities. In my classroom, I serve every student every day. And this is something that we agreed upon at the beginning of the year, that we wanted to serve every student every day. So I wanted to make sure I'm doing that. You all want to make sure you're doing that. And I think I have found something that's really going to assist us in doing that. If you'll turn to page 4 of your packet, you'll find the purpose of the study and why I actually did this study. The problem that I identified in my classroom is that the majority of my students are not learning the required sight words in order to become a fluent reader. I needed to find a way to increase my students' sight word knowledge. What I had discovered was this year in my classroom, my students didn't seem to be grasping the sight word and retaining the sight words that my previous students had. So I wanted to find a way that was going to assist them in not only learning new sight words, but retaining the sight words that we had previously covered in class. So this is the problem that I identified. And I wanted to find a strategy or something that I could use to help me to impact the problem that I had identified. I did some research, and a lot of the research that I found was some different strategies that I've used in my classroom already, and the ones that I found were using magnetic letters, manipulatives, to learn sight words and to build sight words, using make words to build sight words. Also another one was using shaving cream to write sight words in, and of course the drill and practice and the flashcards that we use would also help. So those are some strategies that I saw, but I also kept seeing technology as a strategy, and I use a lot of technology in my classroom as well as you all do. So I knew that was something that could very well help me and assist me in helping these students and helping my problem that I was having inside my classroom. I have centers just as well as you all have centers. We rotate throughout those centers, and we all have a technology center. And really don't have a program for my technology center in Deering Reading nor Math. So I thought if I could find something and I could find a program out there that would assist my students while they were in that center in increasing their sight word knowledge and helping them practice those so that they retain that sight word knowledge, I knew that would be a great thing and a great resource for me to be able to use within my classroom. So I looked, and of course technology, another thing with technology is our students nowadays are so technologically advanced. They come into school being able to use the computer probably as well, if not better, than you and I. They, from the time they're old enough to hold an iPad or work on a computer, they are already doing that and working on it. So I knew that technology was definitely something that could be a resource that I could use in my classroom. So I did some research, and I looked for some peer-reviewed articles that would support my decision in using technology to improve my students' sight word knowledge. I found a bunch, but there was one that really stuck out in my mind. And it was an experimental study that they conducted, and you can find the whole article on pages 5 through 26 of your packet. But if you want to just look at the summary that I've actually created for us, it's on page 27. You can read the whole article at another time during your free time. But this was an experimental study that they conducted in 2014, and they wanted to find if using technology was actually effective in improving students' reading comprehension skills. They used 2 different 4th grade classrooms. They used 47 10-year-old students. Of course, they had an experimental group and a control group. The experimental group used the technology, and the control group didn't use the technology. Through many surveys and interviews that they conducted and the data that they collected, the results revealed that the intervention technology that was used was effective in improving students' reading comprehension skills. So I knew that if there was a program out there that would assist students in improving their reading comprehension skills, I knew there was a program out there that would assist our students in improving their sight word knowledge. So I started looking and trying to find a program out there that would assist me in this and in ensuring to impact the problem that I had already identified. I started looking, and a lot of programs popped up, and some of the ones that I really researched and looked at were iReady, was a program that I looked at. Lexia was a program I looked at, and another one was Reading Aids. So I kept researching and looking, but the one that looked more as it would motivate my students more was the Reading Aid program. It seemed to play fun games. They could jump levels and move levels, and my students are very competitive, so I knew that they would be competitive with their friends and their buddies and their classmates, so I knew that this was something that could be very beneficial to me. I found a little video about the Reading Aids program. It's short for you to watch, and it kind of shows, and if you'll notice at the beginning of the video, kind of look, because they're playing one of the sight word games that they actually play. So just kind of look at it.
Welcome to ABC Reading Eggs. My name is Reggie the Explorer. I want your child to learn to read while having fun. Here at ABC Reading Eggs, children have fun as they learn essential reading skills, phonics, and much more. The more your child interacts with the animation, songs, puzzles, and stories, the more they will want to keep coming back to the wonderful Reading Eggs world. The early parts of the program are great for preschoolers just starting to learn about the alphabet and reading, while the higher levels are perfect for those in their first or second years of school. To see if the program sparks your child's interest in reading, sign up now for a free trial.
Okay, so you can see the sight word game that they were trying to identify the word jump at the beginning of the video. And I knew that that was something that could definitely engage my students and motivate them to learn more sight words and to practice those sight words. Another thing that caught my eye with this program was, if you listen farther on in the video, he talked about how that this program was designed to help students as low as preschool to as high as the second year of school. So I knew that this program could help my students that were my lower average students, but it could also help my advanced students that needed to be challenged. So the program, as he said, it offered a 30-day free trial. So I signed up for the 30-day free trial. And this was the strategy that I planned to implement to impact the problem that I was having in my classroom with the sight word knowledge. You can find this on page 28 of your packet so that you can follow along with me. I plan to do a trial of the web-based instructional program Reading Eggs. The Reading Eggs program states that the students will receive access to the first 100 to 250 sight words through fun and motivational games to keep kids learning and motivated. So before I start talking about the intervention that I did, I want to tell you a little bit about my classroom and some demographics about my classroom. In my classroom, I have 20 students who are all learning to read and learning sight words. I have a yellow group, which is my average group. I have my blue group, which is a little bit above average, and I have my orange group, which are my advanced students. These groups my orange group consists of 7 students who are advanced in their reading skills. I have 6 students who are in my blue group, which is a little bit above average, and then I have 7 students in my yellow group. Now, during group time, I break my yellow group apart into 4 and 3. The 4 students that I have put together are students who are a little bit more on the average level, and then I have 3 students that's a little bit on the below average level, so I break those apart. So actually during my centers and my rotation, I have 4 groups of students. The goal for my students are just to learn to read 100 sight words before leaving kindergarten, although that I feel it is important that students learn as many sight words as possible to ensure that they become fluent readers. Last year, my previous students from last year actually left kindergarten. Over half of them could read at least 200, if not more, sight words. And I had tracked those students and kind of talked to the first grade teachers about that, and they had expressed to me that it helped those students it helped them to be successful in first grade, knowing that many sight words. It had helped their reading to be more fluent in first grade. So I knew that I wanted to also continue that in the students that I had this year. I wanted to ensure that they learned as many sight words as they possibly could. And you'll find this demographic page for your resources later on page 29. And if you'll go ahead and turn to page 30, you'll actually find the intervention that I plan to do with the Reading X program in my classroom for 1 week. During this stage in my intervention, the students will be placed on the Reading X program 3 times a week for 20 minutes a day. By doing this, the students will receive 1 hour of interaction with the web-based program Reading X weekly. Before I started my intervention, I did some pre-assessment data to see how many sight words that my students knew. I also went ahead and assessed them on their words per minute, their reading fluency, because I want to track both of those things and see if the program could actually help my students to improve those two areas. My pre-intervention sight word knowledge, I did an average of each one of my groups. My students in my orange group knew the average of 74 sight words. In my blue group, their average sight word knowledge was 42, and in my yellow group, their average sight word knowledge was 30. And you'll find this on page 31 of your packet, and then on page 32 was after a week of using the program and using it 3 days a week for 20 minutes a day. This was what my post data that I collected afterwards. My orange group sight word knowledge average increased to 93. My blue group's average increased to 62, and my yellow group sight word knowledge increased to 53. Now you'll find this on page 32 of your packet, but if you'll go ahead and turn with me to page 33, there's actually a graph that I inserted all of this information that's easier for you to read. If you'll look on my pre-assessment for my yellow group, they were 30, and then my post-assessment was 53 sight words. My blue group was 42 sight words, and they jumped to 62 sight words. And then my orange group went from 74 sight words to 93 sight words. So you can see that all of my groups and all of my students increased in their sight word knowledge through 1 week of using the program 3 times a week for 20 minutes a day. This was the pre-intervention data that I collected on their fluency, their words per minute. On average, my orange group read 12 words per minute. On average, my blue group read 9 words per minute, and on average, my yellow group read 4 words per minute. After a week of 3 times a week, 20 minutes, this was the post-intervention data that I gathered. My orange group words per minute average increased to 19 words per minute. My blue group average increased to 13 words per minute, and my yellow group average increased to 7 words per minute. And if you'll turn on to your next page, you'll actually see the graph that I put together that makes the fluency and the words per minute a little bit easier to read and compare. You can see that my yellow group went from 4 words per minute to 7 words per minute. My blue group went from 9 words per minute to 13 words per minute, and my orange group went from 12 words per minute to 19 words per minute. So you can see that increased also. I can tell you that all of my students increased both their sight word knowledge and their intervention, in their words per minute knowledge. So I decided that I wanted to do a little bit more intervention on my students, and I wanted to use this program for another week in my classroom. But I wanted to modify and do something a little different. So I decided, and you can follow me on page 32, if you would like, what page we should be on in our packet. For my stage 2 of my intervention, for my next week, for my second week, I wanted to modify my students' time on the program by increasing their time from 20 minutes a day to 30 minutes a day. And I also wanted to increase their days that they were using it during the week from 3 days to 5 days a week. And I wanted to try this for a week to actually see. Well, I had already gathered my post-intervention data from last week, so I knew that coming into this, that how many sight words and how many words per minute they could already read. So after a week of being on the program 5 days a week for 30 minutes a day and rotating throughout those centers, this was the post-intervention that I did after week 2 of modifying their time. My orange group sight words average increased to 99 words per minute. My blue group's average increased to 83 words per minute. And my yellow group's average increased to 61 words per minute. And then, of course, I have another graph that if you'll go ahead and turn to the next page, which will be on page 34. You'll see my chart that I compiled, put all my information in compiled in it. And you can see that after week 1, they knew the average was 53 sight words for my yellow group. But after the second week of the modified time, we jumped to 61. On the blue group, my pre, starting on week 2, was 62 words per minute, and it went to 83 words per minute. My orange group went from 93 sight words to 99 sight words. So you can see that increased and continued. The increase was steady after week 2 of increasing their time on the sight words that they knew, the average of the sight words they knew. On the words per minute, the data that I actually collected, the orange group, after week 2 of in modifying their time, my orange group's words per minute went to 24. My blue group's average words per minute went to 17, and my yellow group's average words per minute went to 10. And then you can go ahead and turn on the next page, and you'll actually find the chart that is detailed and tells us every one of these. For the words per minute, the reading fluency, my yellow group went from 7 words per minute to 10 words per minute. My blue group went from 13 words per minute to 17 words per minute, and my orange group went from 19 words per minute to 24 words per minute. So therefore, you could see that there was a steady increase in all of my groups for all of my students. So I had some conclusions that I came up with, and you'll find this on page 35 of your packet if you'd like to follow along with me there. From the study and the research that I conducted and the data that I gathered, I could conclude that by using the web-based instructional program Reading Aids in kindergarten while students are learning sight words is very beneficial and helps students increase their sight word knowledge. And I also concluded by increasing that sight word knowledge of students' fluency words per minute also increased. The program suggested that the students use the program 3 times a week, but after modifying my intervention to 5 days a week, the students showed more growth in both reading fluency and sight word. So I knew that this was something that I wanted to use every day in my classroom for 30 minutes a day, because I could see the improvement that my students had made in just the 2 weeks that I had used the program. I wanted to take some next steps. I want to continue for the next 2 weeks because I had that 30-day free trial. I want to continue to collect data and use the program to ensure that I continue to get those same results that I had gotten in the first 2 weeks. And also, I wanted to encourage you all to use it in your classroom and to keep the data so that we could ensure that all of kindergarten was making improvements from using the program. I also talked to Mr. Castle about the program, and I explained to him, and I've showed him our data and my data, and he is very impressed with the program. He's very impressed with the improvements my students after using the program. And he's asked me to continue to keep data for my rest of my 2 weeks for my 30-day trial. And he's also asked that you guys go ahead and sign up for your 30-day free trial and allow your students to get on the program every day. And for you to keep data and track to see if it shows the improvement in your students as much as it did in my students, which I really believe that it will. He's also said that after our 30-day free trials are up and we keep the data and we have the charts and stuff to go in front of him and in front of SiteBase, that he was more than willing to purchase this program for us to use inside of our classrooms to help us meet our goal of our students becoming fluent readers before leaving kindergarten. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts about the program or anything like that? I know you've never used it, so it's going to be hard to have anything. All right, well, that's all I have. You take this with you, look through it. You can refer back to some of the graphs that I've used so that you can see the improvement. I ask that you go home and tomorrow during your planning or Friday during your planning that you go ahead and sign up for your free 30-day trial of the program and go ahead and enroll your students so that when we come back in on Monday morning that you're ready to start your intervention to see if the program can actually assist your students and show the improvement that it's showed in my students. So go ahead and gather your data and sign your kids up and be ready to start the program on Monday, and then on Friday collect that data, that post data, and then we'll compile it and we'll look at it and then bring it back to our PLCs the next Wednesday and we'll look at it to see, and then hopefully we'll be able to go to Mr. Castle and he'll buy the program for us to actually use. But if anybody has any questions, we're done. Thank you so much for allowing me time to be able to present this to you and take time from our PLC, because I really believe that it's something that will be beneficial in helping our students to become fluent readers and helping us to meet our goal of making sure that we're reaching every student every day. Thank you.